Graham Miles, I'm the Rural Agricultural Chaplain for Suffolk, and I'm with the Bishop of St Edmundsbury in Ipswich, the Right Reverend Martin Seeley. Thank you for joining me today. It's the weekend of prayer for our farmers and agriculture across Suffolk, and as you're aware, the farming today they're really struggling with so many issues. And you know, as you're the president of the Suffolk Show this year, so you're kept up to date with lots of issues that are going on in the farming world. What's your thoughts and prayers for our farmers today?
So the first thing I'd say is to give thanks. I think prayers of thanks for the farmers and for their families for producing food. We all depend on their food, and I think we often forget, or we don't pay attention to where our food comes from, and to just be reminded that there are people who are producing this food for us is so vital. So giving thanks. Secondly, I think you and I, Graham, are very aware of the challenges that farmers are facing. So we've got immediate challenges that have come from the weather that we've been having, both in terms of the poor harvest and then the floods, which have just devastated crops, and farmers not actually being able to re-drill, to reseed, so that there are real issues. And this next year, I think, is going to be really tough.
It is.
So there are issues to do with the weather, and we've seen this over and over again, and I do associate this with climate change. So then you've got challenges around the changing practices that farmers are needing to explore and develop in terms of the again, adjusting to different techniques, different methods. How do we care for the soil better, and so forth. And I know many farmers struggle with the financial challenges, not least because of the change in the grant making arrangements from Brexit to the ELMS scheme. And the ELMS scheme, I know the government says it's straightforward and everybody should be able to work it. It's not that straightforward, and it's a real challenge, I think, for farmers too.
It is. I mean, we're talking about the farmers here, but there's also the growers, the vegetable growers, that they've been struggling, our fruit growers across the county. It's the whole of agriculture that is really affected by this. So our prayers go out to each and every one of them across Suffolk.
So Graham, I think as well as the financial challenges, one of the things that, again, you and I know only too well, is that many farmers work on their own. Their families, if they have families, are often quite isolated as well. And there's real challenges, I think, with the issues of isolation. And you and I have known farmers who live on their own, work on their own, have very little interaction with other people during the course of a hard working day.
No.
And that produces its own challenges. And so praying for the welfare of our farmers, financial as well as their mental health and their well-being, I think is really important.
And this also includes sort of like the farm workers and their families, because today, I mean, I had a phone call and it was from a tractor driver, and this was at 6 a.m. in the morning, and he said that he'd be in his tractor then till about 6 at night, 12 hours, up and down a field. And that gives them time to think of whatever the issues or problems they're facing, perhaps at home with their families, or issues with their families, and anxiety, depression, and in some cases, unfortunately, suicide comes into this as well. So I think it's important that we are there for them, trying to give support in prayer, and also to let them know that the church really does care for our farming communities.